Well, hello and welcome to another Skeptic TV. I'm SoundOfScilence, and joining me on the panel this week, we have Yoshimo1.
Hello.
We have DutchLiam84.
Oi, oi.
We have csbair.
Hello.
HODthunderwolf.
Hello.
And last but by no means least, BluJugganaut, who apparently is going to be talking in music for the whole show. The topic that we're going to be discussing today is Creationist Dishonesty. We are looking for people to call in. If you'd like to call us, then you need to add SkepticTV to your Skype contacts, and then just send us a message during the show when you'd like to call in, and we'll put you through in good time. So I think probably the best place to kick off the show is with our old favourite Nephilim Free, who has had another interesting couple of weeks on YouTube. Would anyone like to start us off on that one?
Who do you want to start it off?
Okay, well, I don't know how many people who are watching the show have seen this, but I got into two arguments with Nephilim Free on Skype, and both of those are on my channel at the moment, but it was quite obvious that he has no interest in providing evidence to back up his claims, which he was refusing to do it in terms of a scientific debate. He said that he was not interested in providing evidence in a debate. He was much more interested in throwing out baseless assertions and then letting the audience decide which they think is the more true, regardless of what support it had scientifically. Oh, there he is, picking his nose. And I should also add something that I've only just discovered since that call, is that Nephilim Free has now actually blocked me on Skype. He's refused to debate me on any subject. So, and yes, we may go down to the level of making chicken noises should he call in. But, and csbair, we've had an interesting development, haven't we, on the most recent call with J.R. Chadwick and a couple of others.
Yeah, that call, what happened was J.R. Chadwick came to me on Skype and let me know, hey, I've got this recording of Nephilim Free you have to listen to. It's incredible. I thought, you know, everyone's been debating him. It's probably just something weird. So he sends it to me, and I just let it sit there because it's 43 minutes long, as MP3 he sends me. So after I come back, I just, oh, yeah, I forgot to listen to this. So I start popping it up. And it starts with him yelling at that young woman and just getting belligerent. I'm like, holy shit. And I keep listening and listening and listening. And what you hear on my account is Nephilim Free almost likely drunk, very belligerent, screaming at the top of his lungs at night. I mean, I'm just thinking, what the hell is Sharon thinking when she's hearing this? And as soon as they cut him off, the 15 minutes at the end that aren't on YouTube are just them relating to other people that keep bringing into the call exactly what happened on that call. So it's just like they're reliving the entire experience. Like, can you believe how drunk was he? How many beers did he have? You know, it's just freaking funny. But I thought, people don't need to hear that kind of stuff. That's just, you know, banter between friends. So I didn't upload it. But yeah, it's pretty amazing, and Nephilim Free has taken it as a badge of honor that we've uploaded it because he thinks that that's bringing him more viewers. He's getting more people, and he thinks he won that debate. It's like, really, dude, call Alcoholics Anonymous, please.
I was going to say, because he left that comment, was it earlier today? He said that he was just saying that it was good publicity.
It was a couple days ago, but yeah.
Was it a couple of days ago?
Yeah, he keeps posting on that video when he has me blocked on his channel.
I mean, I don't know whether or not that counts as intellectual dishonesty. I think it just counts as plain stupidity.
Yeah, well, he posted once before when I pointed this out, I think a month ago. I said, you have me blocked on your channel, but you keep posting on my videos. He said, well, I can't help it that you don't want to silence the Creationists. It's like, of course not. I have nothing to fear.
Those in the... No, carry on.
I was going to say, once you have a valid idea, we can start talking. Until then, I'm just going to mock you as an idiot.
I was going to say, those of you in Blog TV chat, if you'd like to put your favourite example of intellectual dishonesty from Nephilim Free, if you'd like us to talk about it, or of course you can call in if you want to ask us a question, or even defend Nephilim Free if we've got any of his supporters.
Yeah, the 12-hour call is off the table because we've all experienced it and we're sick and tired of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm quite glad now that I've had my little Nephilim-free journey ended by the fact that he's now blocked me on Skype, so I don't actually ever have to talk to him again if I don't want to.
Yeah, but the funniest thing is your first ever Skype discussion was with Nephilim Free on that 12-hour call, so he popped your cherry for you.
Yes, he did. It didn't feel good.
And then you had to keep coming back for more. So
Claiming
how abusive relationships work.
Oh, yes. Creating and capturing antimatter were one and the same.
Yeah,
and also confusing antimatter with dark matter.
You would not believe how many people yell at me for being an idiot because they think that's my video. It says mirror in big letters in the title.
Well, that's an interesting question that Theophage has just raised. Is it's not a lie if you're delusional. Do we think that that's really true, or do you think that Nephilim Free actually knows what it is he's talking about? Dutch Liam, we haven't heard from you yet.
Well, I don't agree with that. I think he knows he's lying. He blocks people who disagree with him. So that would make some suggestion that he knows he is lying, according to me, at least. I don't know if anyone agrees with me or.
Anti-Tater sucks. Thank you, Chris. You always take this job seriously, don't you?
But he is, of course, also delusional.
Sorry, what was that, Blue?
I agree.
I think that was very well put.
Yeah.
If you'd like to call and ask Blue a question and have him answer you with a riff, then we can't go on all show like this.
Yes, we can. We're SkepticTV. We're not Magic Sandwich.
That's true. Nothing phases us.
Come on, Blue.
He doesn't want to talk.
No.
I was going to say. Yes, I was going to say I've recently got into trying to work out some measure of how good a YouTube channel is other than subscriber count, and I was trying to take into account things like the total number of video views, the number of videos, the number of subscribers, the number of channel views, things like that, putting them all through some kind of horrible spreadsheet and coming out with a number at the end of it all. And what I realized is that it doesn't work, because when I tried it for Nephilim Free's channel, his average views per video was actually higher than just about any of his videos, all but one of his videos, and which was a testament to just how many he's deleted over the years. Because all the views were still logged, but all the videos were still going. So why do you think he deletes so many videos? Or why do you think he goes and says things without researching them properly when he knows that he's had to delete videos in the past and always ends up looking red-faced as a result of it?
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, sure.
I would agree with Cricket 2814 that Nephilim Free is knowingly lying. I always bring up the example of a video he uploaded like 3 or 4 months ago called Giant Little Ripples. There was supposedly some giant ripples on some mountains that were caused by the flood. And when people told him that no, that's not a mountain, that's a desert, and that's sand that has been blown like that to make it seem as if it's done by water. And he deleted that video almost immediately, but he doesn't tell his flock, or his minions, so to speak, that he was wrong. And I think that makes him one of the most dishonest people on YouTube, because he uploads a lot of videos and he deletes a lot of them, but his flock will never know that he was actually wrong.
The thing is that, I mean, yes, it is certainly very dishonest that he deletes his videos, but do you actually think that he knew what he was saying was wrong in the first place, or do you just think he didn't research it properly? Bearing in mind he does do a lot of his research by looking at pictures rather than reading the captions.
Yeah. No, I think he doesn't properly examine the evidence or what he's actually trying to say. And when people, most likely atheists or us evil atheistic evolutionists, as he likes to call us,
Baby eaters, yeah.
point out to him he's wrong. He blocks the comments, he blocks the people, and he deletes the video. Yeah, I don't know what I can say more about this, but he knows he's wrong.
Yeah, well, someone just made a very interesting comment, which was that if he's wrong, then in his own mind, then that makes God wrong as well. Do we think that's going to be a recurring theme throughout this show? Anyone?
Maybe.
Because I think probably the same may well be true of Kent Hovind. I mean, if you're basing all your beliefs on the Bible, I mean, the trouble is that obviously, if you take the Bible literally, then you're going to have to say that if one detail of the Bible is inaccurate, then how can you trust the rest of it? Right. So it's fair enough that you may be apt to prove that the Bible is 100% accurate, but then where is that transition from simply trying to prove everything that the Bible says is accurate to trying to prove everything that you say is accurate?
Yeah, I've actually heard creationists argue that they need something to believe in. They have to believe in the Bible. So they can't ever think that the Bible could be wrong, because that means their beliefs are wrong, and then they're believing in nothing. So that argument logically makes sense, but it just doesn't rationally make sense to me. I'm trying to point out to them, you can lack the belief, but still know there's something better, and just live your life better. They just don't want to. They have to pin it down to that one belief, and that belief has to be right. It couldn't be any other belief. That belief has to be right.
But then, as I say, it may be that the Bible that they're trying to defend is okay, but it's when they come up with their own harebrained schemes to try and explain it, they kind of usher themselves into a corner whereby they cannot admit that they were wrong, and that maybe they could churn out a more believable explanation for something that's in the Bible, but because they've now gone with that line of thought, they have to stick with it. I mean, the Hovind theory, for instance, or the hydroplate theory, even though people point out the numerous flaws in them, they carry on perpetuating them because they simply won't reject it in favor of a better one, because presumably it shows that they don't know what they're talking about.
Right. And it also comes down to the fact that people like Nephilim Free, they keep shouting, show me the evidence, show me the evidence. And they never want to show you the evidence. They say, well, the Bible says, or I believe, or God must have. It's like, well, you're creating a double standard here. You want to be shown that you're wrong, but yet you don't want to ever think about that fact that you're wrong. And when I pointed this out in the 12-hour call, he said I was intimidating him when I was just trying to point out, well, just look at reality. Reality isn't coming to you. Reality doesn't think you're that smart. So maybe you should rethink how smart you are.
His alien theory, what on earth is that? Somebody just put a message in chat.
Yeah, he believes that aliens are really hybrids of fallen angels or Nephilim mating with things like praying mantises.
Yeah.
See, I mean, that was crazy enough, but I have no idea why he decided to share this information. I guess it's not, I don't know whether or not he would consider it part of apologetics or not.
Thank you, Colin.
Has Colin said something?
He put up one of Geiger's aliens.
Oh, okay. I haven't got mine yet. There it is.
I think Nephilim Free does his alien thing because he's said before that he has been visited by aliens, and it's another one of the things where no matter what he says, it has to be true. And if people point out how ridiculous it is, he goes in full force of supporting it and tries to tie it to other things. So when he said philology instead of phylogeny, he had to say, well, yeah, DNA follows linguistics law. He said aliens have visited me. He has to say, well, aliens are part of the Bible.
That, I think, has to be one of my all-time favorites. I mean, I think that he'd realized that he'd really dug himself a hole in that one, because it was in that invitation to debate Thunderfoot. He had said the word philology 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
in the same list. But so presumably I mean, if you or I had done that, we would just have said, okay, I didn't mean to say that. It was a slip of the tongue. I wasn't concentrating or something like that. Why do we think he stuck to his guns and claimed that he really had meant philology?
Because if he admits he's wrong for one or two things, then maybe he's wrong on many things.
Yes.
And that's just the wrong belief to have.
I suppose I've lost my train of thought now.
It's okay. Demigod Dragoness wants to know if he has any education at all.
We've not been able to ascertain it, have we? I mean, I would say one thing for Nephilim is that he's never lied about his academic qualifications as far as we know.
Yeah, but he won't admit to any.
Didn't
No.
you say he had...
It is a photography school in New York.
Yeah.
And presumably we could get in touch with them and see if they've ever had an Evan Phillips on their books.
But he won't tell us which photography school.
All of them.
Okay.
How many of them have been operating in the last 49 years?
Well, how many schools there have photography classes?
Yes, that's true. But didn't he say it was something like the New York Institute of Photography? I don't know whether or not that exists, but I think he did. Yeah, Falchian's right. I think he did actually give it a name at one point.
Okay, well, I don't remember it because, believe it or not, I don't follow Nephilim.
He did do one video on how to take pictures properly and how to get the lighting right and the background right, and that series didn't actually go further than one video.
Yeah, but then he followed up with the evil camera, which was the most ridiculous ad hominem attack I've ever seen.
Now that's quite a statement. I want you to provide evidence of that.
Oh, really?
Falchian's
evidence that is accurate and correct.
Falchian says he checked and they don't offer degrees. I don't know whether or not he said he's actually got a degree in photography.
Yeah, I don't know.
All I remember is him saying he took photography classes.
And
yes, or he trained
he's
there.
Worked as a professional photographer, yeah.
So I don't know whether or not we should move on to somebody who does lie about his qualifications a lot. I think probably, I don't know, do we go for Carl Bau or do we go for Kent Hovind? What do you reckon?
Why not both?
Vote, yeah, all right then. Well, Shock of God. What? Has Shock of God actually?
Just a troll.
Yeah, Shock of God is just a troll. Has he ever actually lied? Well, has he ever said? Was he ever claimed to have any academic qualifications?
No, I don't think so. I don't even know what he does for a living.
No, I don't think anybody does.
He rides motorcycles in circles all day. And he gets paid for it.
Oh, and tells us about the Californian roads and which are the really tricky parts and things like that. Which makes me think that he doesn't have anything better to do with his day than to ride around and get to know the roads. But no, I think if we go on to Kent Hovind, I think I don't know how many of you in the chat at the moment. That's not Kent Hovind. I sent you a perfectly good picture of Kent Hovind, and what on earth do you put up, Colin? I should say I forgot to mention him at the start of the show. CollinMaessen, as usual, is doing our techie stuff for us once again. Yeah, picture is unrelated. Yes, there's Herbert up, Kent Hovind. I suppose he's not really a hillbilly, is he? But
No.
I don't know how many of you in the chat have read Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation. It is, yes, Falchian has. I think if you ever want something to actually split your sides with laughter, I would suggest Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation, even just reading the first few pages of it. The first page... Oh, hang on a minute. Have we lost sound? No, I don't think we have. Okay. Yes, the opening to the doctoral dissertation is, "Hello, my name is Kent Hovind," which obviously doesn't set you off to a good start.
Right. And the dedication thanks his parents for buying him the typewriter to put it all together.
And the lady who typed it up for him. The lazy sod couldn't even type it himself. And also,
and it still has typos throughout.
Yeah, she edited it and retyped it, and yeah, it's still full of mistakes. And I think only 4 out of the proposed 16 chapters are complete, and I think 8 of them are missing entirely. yes, there's
college.
Patriot Bible University, which looks big enough to take about 20 people. It does look like it's in the middle of the Nevada desert or something. You have to drive for 3 days to get there. But the thing is that I think it's very true, and not just true of creationists, but I think true of anybody, that you don't often question somebody's academic qualifications. If they put doctor in front of their name, then you largely accept that. It's only when they perhaps give you cause to doubt that you actually go and investigate and find these people out.
Yeah, for a while there, he was promoting himself as having a degree in education. And when people started researching, they found out he has a degree in Christian education, which isn't the same thing as education. So I don't know whether he stopped using it or not, but for a while there, he was saying he had a doctorate in education.
Oh, we have DPR Jones with us in the chat.
Oh, damn
it. What's wrong with him being here?
He's gonna get all the attention now.
Probably, yeah, there we go. There's the first fanboy. Eritano. No, I mean, you should have seen me. I'm the biggest DPR fanboy there is. But, what was that, Blue?
Wants to talk.
Oh, that's such a sweet thing to say.
The explanation that Kent Hovind gives for how, you know, the mother and the father come together and make a baby is the most fascinating bullshit story I've ever heard someone try to piece together. The DNA from your father unravels, and half that strand matches up with one of the mother's strands, and together they form the entire chain of what you'll be. It's like, have you even taken a biology course?
And also in that same spiel, I think he confused chromosomes, genes, bases,
right.
I forget what else, codons. He got it all completely and utterly wrong. The fact of the matter is, though, that nobody in the audience knew he was wrong on that one. Yes, thank you, Colin, for showing us what DNA replication looks like.
And this is the man that I2I35 thinks should be president of the United States.
Luckily, he doesn't live in the United States.
I know. Yes, the gay Jesus, he really has that argument that he thinks Kent Hovind should be president of the United States.
Meatbag 2, Ali G pwned Kent Hovind. I think it is one of the finest moments of Ali G's career. I mean, he owns the evolutionists as well. But
and Alshan49 has a good quote there.
Can you read it out? I'm looking at the wrong bit.
Yeah, he's talking about Kent Hovind. It says seminars with a collective IQ lower than that of the furniture.
Oh dear. We might get in trouble. Some of this might be slandering. We may have to issue an apology. That's true. He is now in prison, so what is he going to do?
Yeah, and he's lied many times about his degree, so screw him.
I tell you something, though. I would much rather have him back out of prison and maybe do away with Nephilim Free instead. I know that sounds awful, but Nephilim Free has now completely got on my tits, and I would rather have Kent Hovind just for the entertainment.
Yeah, I2I35 has argued that Kent Hovind is illegally in jail because they trumped up tax fraud charges because there's no law in the United States that requires anyone to pay taxes. I wonder if he got that from Kent Hovind. Yeah, there we go.
There he is behind bars. That's not an actual photo. We now go live via webcam to Kent Hovind's cell. And the other one, this is a slightly more complicated one to pick apart, is Carl Baum, who is probably most famous for presenting various hoax fossils as the genuine article. Most famously, things like the supposed Cretaceous footprints that are found amongst dinosaur footprints, the fossilized hammer, a fossilized finger, which happens to just be a rock that looks like a finger and nothing more than that. Wonder if we can get him up on screen. There it is. Those that you can see on screen right now are supposedly a pair of fossilized hands from his museum. I think we've got a better picture as well, comparing them to some real hands, if Colin could be so good as to put it up. But I don't know, Blue, you might be the best person to comment on this, and I'd rather you didn't do it musically if it's all the same. But to my mind, those look more convincingly like whale flippers or something. What do you have to say?
Well, going on to whale flippers. Sorry to anyone who's looking forward to a guitar-related response.
Thank God.
But as we
thank Satan. I forgot. Sorry, carry on.
As we can see from the fossil record, animals such as whales, bats, cats, and anything, most vertebrae have exactly the same bones, but with slightly different shapes. That pretty much explains it. Creationists seem to think that everything has completely different bones, but that's simply not true. Those bones could belong to any vertebrae because they usually have the same bones, just arranged slightly differently or shaped slightly differently. Plus, those bones look too long for human fingers.
Yes, although they could be the bones of the Nephilim.
Oh,
sorry, I just threw the Creationists something to use against us now. Damn. But the other thing I would say is that it's very odd for a pair of hands to fossilize from a human being and none of the rest of it. I mean, particularly not the skull, which is probably the bit which lasts longest, either that or the pelvis. So it seems rather odd that the rest of the fossil has been omitted for whatever reason. Because I'm sure if we could see a bit more of that rock, then maybe we would know a bit more. Does the guy have a really weird thumb? I think he does, actually.
I think it's just the shading
just
of the picture.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Not that it matters one jot, but... I mean, you know, these people are from the deep south of America, so I'm surprised he doesn't have 6 fingers, but...
Deep south right now.
I'm going to get in trouble with some of the viewers for that, but...
It's not the most clear picture ever.
No.
It'd be much better if we had it actually with us. At least, can't do that.
No, haven't you listened to Neff? We just look at pictures of it.
That's all you need to do to learn about anything. Just look at a picture of it.
Because, well, Carl Bau, who I think he actually is proprietor of a creation museum in America, and also, as I say, collects these fossils, which even answers in Genesis has more sense than to say are the genuine article. He has... I believe he has passed himself off as a scientist on numerous occasions. I'm not sure whether or not that's true. I have to check that. He doesn't. I checked his website and he doesn't list any scientific degrees there. But for instance, he has a theology degree from the California Graduate School of Theology, and if you again, they're the people whereby if you try and call them up and say, "Can I just check whether or not you have Dr. Bauer's or whether you have Dr. Bauer on your records," they refuse to give any information. Rather like when DPR Jones called the Patriot Bible University, where Kent Hovind got his degree. So I think it's probably fair to assume that something is wrong with that degree. It's also true that he said that it was an earned degree, i.e. that he submitted a dissertation for it and sat exams, but a former colleague of his, it says that it was an honorary degree.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it was an honorary degree, why would you not admit that to your followers? Why do you feel the need to dress it up? I mean, why are you opening a museum of creationist science, for one thing, if you only have degrees in fields like theology? I think he has about 5 claimed degrees, and all of them are in art subjects. Have we got any questions from the chat that we'd like to tackle? Oh, Dutch84, I should say.
Well, I actually have some problems with my connection, so
no.
I don't hear everybody properly, and the chat is also not going chronologically.
Colin, what have you done to the chat?
He cleared it.
Boo! I was just looking for a question.
Did somebody write a dirty word?
Yeah, someone posted a link after I posted a link showing them where to find that Neffy quote.
Oh, it was the gay Jesus.
It's all your fault, gay Jesus.
Shame on you, gay Jesus.
With your second coming.
Yeah, you have to go back to your 12 disciples.
Yes, there's Jesus with his pet raptor,
Oh.
and there's
Yeah.
Prince of Penises. He's going to
What
get
about
angry with me.
Ken Hovind's son?
Yeah, well, I mean, Eric Hovind. That is another thing. Is that again? You see Eric Hovind's, I think it was nicknamed Stupidity Minute. Things like the argument about the Grand Canyon being higher in the middle than either end, and that the evolutionists claim that water had to flow over hill. This is an idea which has been trotted out numerous times and has been refuted as many times. Why do you think it is that people carry on broadcasting this stuff?
Because they can get away with it. Seriously, they can. I mean, most of the general public doesn't know that much about science thanks to the public education system not spending enough time on science. I mean, whenever there's cuts, it's usually cuts to art, music, science, but they just will not cut sports. Sports is always important, and sports has a good foundation for schools, but you can't sacrifice everything else and stick with sports no matter how hard you try, because you're never going to get good schooling that way.
Yeah, like the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, Michigan, they've got they're building a big, huge stadium to rival the big one that Michigan State University built. And in order to do that, they cut funding to a ton of their classes and stuff like that, just so that they could build a big, fancy stadium for the football. Or American football, anyway.
Right. I mean, they did that with my alma mater. Just as I was leaving, they played football in a stadium across the city, and the stadium was still operational, but it was starting to fall apart, and nobody wanted to invest more money to build it back up. So the university that I went to started asking the city if they could buy up some of the land that was near the university, and the city helped them out by claiming eminent domain to revitalize the downtown area where the university was. They built the stadium right there, but they knocked down dormitories, they knocked down shops, they knocked down people's homes, they knocked down parking decks in order to bring this big new stadium there, and they had to borrow a ton of money to do it. So it's just, instead of building brand new schooling buildings, instead of building like brand new libraries, they decided to spend millions and millions of dollars bringing a stadium closer to the university. So.
Gotta have our football.
Yep.
Which isn't football. I mean, the Europeans and the Americans are going to get into an argument over this, but it's not football. I'm sorry.
It's football.
I agree.
It's not football. Shut up.
Yeah.
HOD Thunderwolf, come to our aid.
We have
It's not
we have a
football because you
question.
don't use your feet.
Gable.
Well, we have a question from the chat from Power666. He says, it is obvious that abiogenesis happened once, but why not more? Does anybody want to talk about that? I don't know if it's... Okay, Bear.
From what we understand of abiogenesis, there were certain conditions that were required, including a very low oxygen content in both the seas and the air. And we don't have that today. The oxygen content is way too high for abiogenesis to work the same way. Could there be another abiogenesis that works differently? Sure, but we don't know how that would happen until it actually happens. We can't predict in science that way.
Could be happening on another planet, too.
I would say, I mean, yes, apart from it happening elsewhere in the universe, which is fairly probable if you, as long as you accept that abiogenesis is possible. I would say that, first of all, we don't know that abiogenesis didn't happen on more than one occasion. It could have been that on the early Earth, life arose in different forms in different parts of the world. It just so happens that one form became dominant and killed off all the competition. But as for abiogenesis happening today, there are several problems with it, and there are several problems with, who is it? The peanut butter man. It's not Dwayne Gish, is it? But
no, that's Jonathan Wells, I think.
Jonathan Wells? Okay. But there is a problem with it happening today in that, first of all, it is very unlikely to happen the same way that we believe it happened in the past, namely that RNA was the first self-replicating molecule, simply because just about all forms of complex life secrete RNA's enzymes in order to break down RNA, and that's a a mechanism that has developed to protect against viruses, because viruses more often than not use RNA genomes. So if any RNA were to form by chemical means today, then it would almost certainly be either degraded or swallowed up and digested by another organism. And as Chris says, there's far too much oxygen in the air now, courtesy of the plants, which is why the reducing conditions that were needed to form things like the bases of DNA and the amino acids simply aren't around anymore. I mean, we've got off topic, but it was quite an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin let us know that there's a couple people waiting to get on.
Okay, have we got Chill Tea standing by, ready to join us? I don't know either, Blue.
Well, we have Bossman 103.
Okay,
ready.
yeah, if we could have him into the call. Give us just a moment. This is our first ever caller here on Skeptic TV, so...
We're popping another cherry today.
I know, it's very exciting, Blue.
At least he's staying in the blues riffs. He's not going to rock yet.
That's true, yes. I'm just waiting for Bossman 103 to pick up. There we are. Hello, Bossman.
Sorry about this. Just let me silence my TV because it echoes just a minute.
Yeah,
Hello?
that's fine. Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, cheers.
Good. You have a question for us?
Yeah, I'm a Christian and I accept evolution. I was just wondering, do you think that maybe the attitude towards creationists is sort of like makes them less likely to accept evolution, like call them, fundy foot-tards or creatards and stuff like that? Do you not think that that's not really helpful? Because, like, let's say if you had the truth, you're much less. Let's say, for example, we're having a conversation about, I don't know, politics. You're less likely to accept my position if I'm like calling you names and stuff. Do you think that that's less helpful, or do you think that they sort of deserve it because of their attitude?
Well, can I say something here?
Yeah.
Well, we do try to be reasonable with them. First off, whenever I first talk to a creationist, I'm usually, I try to get along with them. But when you realise how they just don't listen to you, talk over you, then it just gets on your nerves, and you just realise that they aren't there to listen to you, they're there to proselytise to you.
HODthunderwolf, you've been very quiet. Have you got anything you'd like to say?
Well, I suppose what I'd say is that I don't think we really do insult most creationists. We only insult the most fundamental ones, the ones that will not change their mind, like Nephilim 3, for example. You can say as much as you like to Nephilim 3, and he will never, ever, ever accept that there's any evidence for evolution. So you just go to insults, whereas some other people might be more reasonable, and you might not insult them because of that.
And I was just about to mention her name, actually. I believe we do have Angry Womble joining the call. Possibly the best person I think... possibly the best person I think to...
So I don't know if there's anything going on.
Yes, but I think you are possibly the best person to comment on this, either that or possibly Chris. We're talking, the question is, Womble, do we think that being rude to creationists and calling them idiots is actually the wrong way to go about it, in that they will become more closed and not want to listen to alternative viewpoints? I know that you are somebody who doesn't really have any patience for anybody. You don't have any sympathy for them. You're more than happy to jump on them and tear them apart.
I think it depends on the individual. If it's someone that there's a chance you can reach, then obviously being patient and calm, just being polite is the better way to get through to someone, and the better way to explain your ideas and get them across. Not every interaction between someone that's an advocate of science, regardless of whether or not they've got formal or lay education within science, would be able to put their arguments across in such a kind of polite way. the reality of the matter is sometimes some of the creationists that we will be dealing with, say the likes of Neffy, you are potentially going through and trying.
Oh, I think we might have lost her
You
there.
might not be fully versed in. Did I break up?
You did a little bit.
All right. So what had I got to?
I don't know. Anyone help me? I wasn't listening.
Thank you. It could be that say with a sort of a fluffier creationist that doesn't know any different, go in politely and calmly and explain the facts and be helpful and all that. But then, in contrast, there's the likes of the Nephilim Frees of this world. How calmly and politely they will keep interrupting you, and as we see from how he reacted in the 12-hour call, at that point, all reasonable people will have their limit, and it's a bit unfortunate, but you probably are going to end up just having to say, look, you're an idiot.
Do you think that it doesn't help in terms of trying to convince the audience, though?
Sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's...
because, I mean, in terms of talking to Nephilim Free, I've completely given up on trying to convince him. The only reason why I would be interested in debating him is simply because there are some members of his audience who perhaps don't know better and haven't converted, as it were, to evolutionism simply because they've not been presented with evidence properly.
Oh, I mean, yeah, completely. That's the only reason why I would even think of interacting with Nephilim Free.
But do you think, as well as the evidence, we need to present a front of being respectful in order to make people want to listen?
Yeah, generally it will be helpful. But I mean, if you're sort of at the end of a kind of a long day and you're a bit tired and you've been speaking to someone for a long time.
I think her connection is going through.
I think one will keeps breaking up. Thanks, Blue. Has that answered your question, Bossman?
Yeah, thanks. But I still think that you could go about things differently. I understand that it can get a bit frustrating. I mean, I had a conversation with Nephilim Free for about 2 hours, and that was
poor thing.
fun. Pardon?
I said you poor thing.
Well, yeah, you can listen to that on my channel. And a friend of mine who's a biology student, had to correct him on some of the stuff he said, and she got a bit frustrated with him.
Just for the record, your YouTube channel, is that the same name, Bossman103?
Yep.
Excellent, okay. Not that I'm trying to plug your channel or anything.
Yeah, but what Bossman is referring to is also what people are saying about what they call the new atheists, which is so harsh against religion and people spouting religion. Who's making noise?
No, I don't think that at all. I mean, I'm a Christian and you're entitled to your views. My problem is that if you try to convince somebody that they're incorrect about their views, I think there's a different way you can go about it. That's
yeah, I mean, I'm personally not anti-religion. I'm anti the abuse of science and the way that some people of any religious leanings will ram it down your throat. That's the only times I'll ever have a problem with someone that's of a religious inclination.
Well, the problem they have with the new atheists is that they say new atheists just are too harsh. They're saying, there is no God, and they're trying to push science and reason too hard that they're pushing people away from just giving up their beliefs. And it's like, if they don't want to give up their beliefs because they hear other people opposing them, then they weren't going to give them up in the first place. I mean, being nice and then just being a little bit sterner, there's little difference in that when compared to your beliefs. Either your beliefs are solid or your beliefs are just what you accept right now. So I don't think being harsh is going to change anyone. I mean, if saying someone's an idiot, if someone tells me I'm an idiot because I said something stupid, it's like, well, why did I say stupid? But these people, you call them stupid, and they go, oh, see, I'm being persecuted. That means I'm right.
And what do we think to the Richard Dawkins of this world? I mean, Bossman, you're welcome to us on this one as well if you want.
Well, I have no problem with Dawkins because I think his scientific knowledge is really good. I just think he knows nothing about philosophy or sociology. I mean, I don't think that's an unfair statement. The people I have problems with are people like Pat Condell, because he takes it one step further. He's willing to take away people's rights I don't know how many of you know this, but he, in one of his videos, favorited a bill called the Jihad Prevention Act, which, if acted, means that a Muslim can't advocate Sharia law. Now, I find that disgusting, because if we have free speech, everyone deserves free speech.
Mm. I mean, I guess there is this fact, I suppose, that if you are arguing from a scientific point of view, you should not be bringing religion into it at all. I mean, I know Pat Condell doesn't concern himself with science. I think that is possibly why people object to Dawkins quite a lot, is that he is a scientist by trade, and as you say, he doesn't know much about philosophy. But he then takes his scientific knowledge, comes to the conclusion through it that there is no God, and considers that to be as equally scientifically factual as any of the rest of his knowledge. Do we think, anybody's welcome to come in on this, do we think that scientists should be distancing themselves from religion in all purposes?
I don't think the two are exactly divorced. I mean, you can accept science and you can have beliefs in a religion. They're just two different things. I mean, Dr. Ken Miller is a perfect example. He is a practicing Catholic. He's proud of his Catholicism. Sometimes when he gives speeches, at the end, he will talk about why he's a Catholic. But then he writes the most extraordinary biology textbook used in schools today. I mean, there's a couple of errors, and he's corrected them over the years, but it's in, like, the 24th edition now. And it's just, he doesn't let the religion run his science, and he doesn't let the science ruin his religion. He understands the two are separate entities.
Right. Okay, well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Bosman. We need to move on now because we've got other people waiting to call, but thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And oh no, what has Blue moved on to now?
He's got that flute.
He's playing with his flute.
We're not going to go into musical innuendo, are we?
Oh. I had some pun intended, but nobody caught it.
Opening his
apparently.
valve.
No, I got it. I was going to say we're not going to. Okay, now we've got another caller lined up, which is Nautilidi, which I believe will be Chill T in a different Skype guise. He'll be here in just a moment.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Hello.
Yep.
Just before we go, are you Chill T?
Yes.
Yes, you are the same person. Excellent. Right, what is your question, sir?
Well, the topic of the day is creationist dishonesty. And there are many forms of creationist dishonesty, on YouTube especially, like not allowing people to respond with video responses to your videos, or censoring comments, or even blocking people's channels. What do you think are the best ways of dealing with things like this, and do you think that it will ever stop?
Who should we get to tackle that one? Yeah, I think, yes, Blue.
Do not stoop down to their level. Do not censor their comments. That's all I can say. You can do nothing about what they do, just don't stoop down to their level.
But do you think perhaps we should be trying to make our presence more obvious, Blue? We should be perhaps, I mean, we can't necessarily have them censor our comments, but we can try desperately to make sure that somebody like Nephilim Free subscribers watch our videos so that they get both sides of the argument.
You see, that's difficult, because I don't think his followers are willing to go see, for instance, Thunderfoot's or Don Extus or Aaron Ra's videos. I really don't think they want to. I think they want to hear one message, and that's from Nephilim Free or Shock of God or whoever they're listening to.
They just want to feel reassured. They don't want to feel as if they have to question their own thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was just going to say, a lot of them will just watch DPR Jones, Thunderfoot's videos by what Nephilim Free and Shock of God and others put up on their channel. They just watch those clips that they want them to see and never check out the original source.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I don't know whether or not, the same way that we watch creationist videos by means of a kind of a train wreck or something for entertainment purposes, I do want to know really how many creationists watch videos by evolutionists, for instance.
I think it's quite telling how evolutionists, if you want to call them that, will let anyone comment on their videos, but creationists don't want their followers listening to other people's opinions. I think it's quite telling.
I mean, I can tell everyone right now, I have 0 people blocked on my channel. Whenever you earn a block, usually it's because you're just belaboring a point, and I've asked you to stop like 3 times. At that point, you know, you're escorted off, but within a few days, the block is gone. Neffy is not blocked, Dr. God is not blocked, nobody's blocked on my channel. Because I have nothing to fear. I mean, just post whatever and let everyone else make fun of you. That's the way I've gotten it. And every time Neff posts a comment on one of my videos, there's 8 or 9 people just mocking him. It's like, well, I did my job.
Womble, you're somebody who has blocked people in the past.
It was a moon denialist or moon landing hoaxer type, and he was just kind of getting quite. I can't remember exactly what he said, but his comments were just like, "Why are you posting these comments? You've been quite aggressive towards me." Block. I even had to report someone, but that was for. I left the comments up, but that was for the sexual connotations in the message that they were sending. They had been quite rude to a friend of mine, who I can't remember if she'd had the baby, if she was still pregnant, but woman with either pregnant or young baby, and he was just being very rude and inappropriate, and I just called him out for it on his channel, and then he started on me being quite rude. Those messages are still up on my channel comments if you want to go read the ravings of a delusional person.
So so you blocked them then because of their attitude? You didn't block them because you were fed up of listening to them?
No, not quite. I did block this one guy. I don't know. I haven't unblocked him yet. Because I just wanted to basically stop him from posting such idiocy. But I haven't deleted the comments. I'm not. I mean, if it was something that was like if it was like personal details of someone or something like that, then I would delete. Depending on exactly what was in the content of the message, I may or may not delete it. But because if someone posted something really graphic, say describing a sexual act on a small child kind of thing, is like really pushing it too far, don't know if I would block and delete kind of straight away, but I know I would report it. But that's when I would really start censoring if it was massively inappropriate. Now, I'm robust enough that if you want to start saying some fairly crude things, I'm going to post a reply on my channel saying, yeah, right, whatever, sod off back to whatever cave you crawled out of, and then I might think about blocking and reporting.
Yeah. Do you warn people before you block them? Because although I've never actually yet had to use this policy, I've just had my first pro-Nephilim free comments on my videos, but either I couldn't understand them or they weren't, I didn't think, worth getting angry about. But do you think I mean, it's my policy if I want to block somebody to send them a written warning first by personal message before blocking them?
I think it depends. It's not me. I like he's now the Rogue Moon, but Rogue Combatant, Moonlit 91, whatever it was. I liked his kind of philosophy of it's his channel, he'll do what he wants on there. If he decides to block you for no reason, he doesn't have to tell you. I wouldn't necessarily be quite as militant about it as him, but it's my channel. It's up to me what I decide to do. If I want to give you a warning, then I warn you. But if it goes straight to that level of I need to block you before I do anything else, then I'll block. It'll depend what the person's doing. I mean, I know when I'm modding places, I will warn people that behaviour is getting out of hand before I start modding them, unless they are really actually pushing it too far. Again, sort of being sexually inappropriate to a minor, as an example, then straight to the hitting the modding button, and then they've just got to live with the consequences. And if they come back a bit whinging and bitching, I'll be like, yeah, tough shit. But if they come back and say, look, I really don't understand why I was blocked or why you did this, could you explain it? Then I would.
Oh dear, we've lost Chilty from the conversation, so I'll just open this question to the floor. Yes, I do apologise, I was making a noise. Do we think then that there should be restrictions on blocking or restrictions on censoring comments, or that they should be banned outright?
Well, I don't think there should be restrictions. I just think that if you're going to take the pseudo-moral high ground, then you're going to have to open yourself up to more. If you just start blocking people the moment they criticize you, delete their comments, then really what are you doing differently than the creationists? I mean, they're doing it because they don't want to hear the other side, so why are you doing it? Because they're annoying? Well, to them, we're annoying. So I'm not quite sure exactly why you would bother doing that.
See, on my channel, I got 8 people blocked, and the only reason I blocked them was because they were just spamming.
Yeah.
And really,
Even
that's the only reason I'll
spam
ever
my
block
channel,
someone.
after a few days, when they realize they can't send there anymore, I'll remove the block. There's just no reason to keep blocks on my channel because most people will move on.
I'm just scrolling down to have a look at my channel comments.
To answer the question about what to do when they block you and refuse to allow you to comment on videos, especially when they're talking about you, like Nephilim Free has done before, if you check a lot of Nephilim Free's videos, you'll see in the related and similar video section, you can see a lot of my videos coming up because I figured out some of the steps you need in the Google engine to get those videos over there. And as soon as he makes a video, I will try to make a reply and make sure it matches up a lot of the same things he does. Link to his, make sure people click on mine and then click on his, and you'll start to see my videos scroll up near the top. So many of his, where I need to send a comment and tell people this is how he's wrong, I will follow those steps, and within a day you'll see my video alongside his.
Another thing as well, do you think that there maybe should be some, like the false DMCA appeal, do you think there should be some kind of appeal against your blocking if you think that somebody has blocked you unfairly?
No, because, I mean, it's an open area. You produce your channel in order to reach a certain audience, but there's no guarantee that the audience should be able to reach you. And that's a strange way of thinking about it, but that's just the way YouTube is set up. So if you block someone because they're just spamming you and they appeal and go, well, I was blocked for no reason, then Google will have to sit there and go, well, okay, was he really spamming? They have to make that kind of decision. I'd rather the person who creates the channel have final say in who gets to post there. But then whoever posts there should be able to, or whoever controls the channel should be able to say, well, I want it open or I don't want anyone to comment. That should be their decision.
Right. But do you think maybe there could, because I mean, I must say actually, I don't think, yes, thank you for the spam, Colin.
Spam.
Oh no, I knew that would happen. I was going to say, I think that, okay, maybe it is fair that the individual have control over their channel, but then if you are somebody who blocks at the drop of a hat, like Nephilim Free, do you think that maybe you could start to open appeals against blocking if a channel has an anomalously high number of blocks? Because obviously you still need to get rid of the odd spammer, the odd troll.
Yeah, I would love a way for YouTube to say you can only block as many people as you have subscribed to you. So right now, Neff would not be able to block more than 6,000 people, so you would have to start picking and choosing who you wanted to block.
It would be very interesting to see how many people have been blocked by Nephilim Free.
He said it's in the thousands about a year ago.
Have you seen have you seen how many people Venom Fang X had blocked?
Oh, that was horrendous.
13,500 people. That's amazing.
Yeah, but he's claimed. The funny thing is, he's claimed that he's unblocked everyone, but I know for a fact that DPR Jones has said he is still blocked.
Well, Venom Fang X made a video that showed that YouTube was glitching out and that he was having trouble unblocking people.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true.
Repetitive strain injury.
I've never had a problem unblocking people.
I'm forgetting how to speak here. Yeah, for the record, I have now just unblocked the guy I had blocked, so he could post again.
Oh, you didn't feel obliged? You didn't have to feel obliged to?
Oh, no, it's just whatever.
Round of applause from Dutch Liam.
Yeah, it's like deserves a round of drinks.
And Hicks, what is it with you and your obsession of porn?
Something else which... Okay, oh, sorry, were you going to say something, Blue?
Just saying I've got my beer out.
Good.
I have
something else that was brought up in the chat, which I thought might be worth we'll go over is quote mining. To bring this back to the subject of dishonesty, how do we think we could? I mean, first of all, we couldn't do away with quote mining. I think it's safe to agree, because there's no way in which you could police it, and nor do I think it should be policed. But do you think that there maybe should be some kind of way of catching people out or alerting people if somebody has quote mined a text, other than the usual video response or tackling them publicly?
How do you mean? Like breaking out the jungle drums and letting everyone spread the word kind of thing?
But there could be an extra flag button or something like that for intellectual dishonesty. That would be quite good.
The more flags you bring in, the more abuse people can bring to the system.
That is true.
But I've noticed that if you look up a lot of the mined quotes, especially the newer ones they're bringing out, you'll find the first 3, 4, 5 pages on Google are nothing but creationist sites, only leaking that quote. You won't find anywhere else, and you really have to go back to the source to find the full quote. And sometimes it's in a book you still can buy in the stores, but you can't find for free online. Like with Nephilim Free's latest, where I made a video called YouTube Blight. I actually found the original quote in the original magazine, read the entire article, and it meant completely the opposite of what he had. So I did a used car salesman video about it and just said, hey, this is what they meant, and you're trying to sell something bad. It wasn't as funny as I had hoped, but I still put it up there because I spent some time researching this. But it's amazing. If you know how to research, you can find the original quotes, and you can see how often these people are intellectually dishonest. They don't want to give you the truth, but they want that authority to say their side is right.
What I don't understand is, I mean, a particularly famous example, at least in recent years, in Ben Stein's film Expelled. There was.
I have managed to not see that as yet. I'm hoping that there's somewhere on YouTube, it's been chunked into little 10-minute bits that I can kind of sit and watch over a couple of nights, trying not to beat my brain out with my geological hammer. So,
I apologise to Jay's. I apologise to Jay's logic, who is now feeling physically ill. But there's
DPR Jones did order the code red by the look of it.
Because there is, any YouTube user like Nephilim Free can happily quote mine something, and there's nobody really who's going to stop them. But when it comes to the film like Expelled, when they interviewed Richard Dawkins, and Richard Dawkins says that it has been postulated that life could have been seeded or designed by some alien race who would have evolved themselves by natural selection. What he said immediately after the cut was that that is a theory to which he does not subscribe, and because he doesn't see any sense in it. And yet that was put in the film as it was to give the impression, in fact it was very explicitly said afterwards, that Richard Dawkins believed that aliens could have created life on Earth. Now what gets me about that is that this is a public domain film, and yet there was nobody in that process, nobody in editing, nobody in the distribution company who looked it over, nobody said you can't do that. That's a blatant misrepresentation of his viewpoint. How do we think that gets by through things like the film industry? Anyone?
Sorry, I zoned out. I've been driving.
That's all right.
Well, Expelled already has really low ratings on most review things, unless it's a Christian review site that I've seen. Like
Rotten Tomatoes gives it 9%.
Yeah, like Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb, they've got really low ratings. And I haven't really heard much about people talking about it on television, but I think it came out when I was little, so I wouldn't have known anyways. But whenever someone mentions it on the internet, even if it's on, there's on the Escapist forum, I was in an argument with a Creationist, and someone mentioned the movie Expelled, and even the Creationists were saying that it was that movie was a bunch of crap. So I don't think that many people respect it anyways.
Yeah.
Except
people don't even know it.
But I'm just wondering how on earth this stuff manages to get through completely unchecked. I mean, I can't necessarily believe that everybody who was involved in the making of that film would have been on Ben Stein's side.
Well, that's the thing. They originally said the movie was titled Crossroads, at the intersection of faith and science or something like that. And they had told people like Dawkins, P.Z. Myers, and others that they wanted to interview them to get their side on the science side for this. And then when Ben Stein or whoever was interviewing people showed up, they started asking, okay, here's the science side. Now give me the intelligent design side. So they were intentionally getting them to answer and then editing the video footage differently. I mean, everyone who talked about their interviews said this is what happened. And they did it, almost at about the same time. So I don't think they colluded because there's no reason for them to lie. I mean, I don't think P.Z. Myers or Dawkins would just start opening up, oh yeah, here's what the other side thinks.
Yeah. I mean, when something is quote mined, I mean, this being Skeptic TV, we like to do our homework whenever we can and see whether or not something has been misrepresented. Do we think that it is really appropriate for the public to be expected to look up every single line for fear that it could have been quote mined, or do their own undercover research or things like that? Because this is the trouble. If it's something that is open source, if it's quoting from On the Origin of Species, then it's something that people can look at relatively easily. The trouble is when it's something like an interview, then it's much more difficult because you haven't got the original tape.
Yeah, but On the Origin of Species is really a very dry read.
It is desperately boring.
It is.
Got through it last year.
I got a pretty colour version somewhere.
Yeah. If somebody could update it or make it into like a manga, I think it would get more readership.
Make it into an action film.
Yeah.
With Bruce Willis playing the part of Charles Darwin.
We'll contact Michael Bay and Uwe Boll.
No,
not Uwe Boll.
We'll let him direct your book, shall we?
Oh God, kill me. See, the worst part is, for a while there, my publisher still had the movie rights. So until he reverted them back, he could have sold those to anyone who had the money.
Including Uwe Boll.
Uh-huh.
What would you have done if your book was made into an Uwe Boll movie? What would you have done if Uwe Boll made a movie of your book?
I would have cashed a check and changed my name. No, I didn't write that book. That's a different guy.
But going back to the idea of the public being expected to research everything, I mean, probably the curious people will probably research as much as they could, but that's where I think the likes of ourselves and anyone that's active in the skeptic community or the debunking community, be they blogs, YouTube, whatever, that's where we really play the role of the kind of night watchman, as it were, in that we will obviously see and spot these quote mines and go do our various efforts at debunking them, and then share that with the internet and through the blogs and the videos and stuff. And I think that's where we can actively as a community do something, even if it is just doing a text-based video on YouTube or like a blog post somewhere saying, I've seen this bit of stupid, this is what they've said, this is what the information actually says.
Do you think we should make a feature-length film rebuttal to Expelled?
Only if I can blow things up.
Because that's what I like, actually.
There was actually a comment I just saw in the chat. Oh, not just saw, but I saw in the chat that there is somewhere you can download a commentary, as it were, and if you play it on time with the start of the film, it actually goes through and it's a rolling debunk of all the bullshit in Expelled.
Are you sure you're not thinking of playing Dark Side of the Moon to The Wizard of Oz? That is one that I've heard, which sounds very similar. You've got to line it up.
There is actually somebody who has subtitles that you can put on the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, not just me, sorry. I didn't make it up.
I wouldn't accuse you of making it up.
Yes, you would.
I would do the research if I suspected that you had made it up.
But the NCSE has put up a wonderful website since the movie was in theaters that just completely tears apart all the bad arguments in it. And it's well worth going to. It's expelledexposed.com.
That all one word?
Yes, expelledexposed.com.
Put that in the chat. Dutch Liam 84, anything from the chat that's caught your eye?
No.
Okay, good.
Is there any more callers?
I noticed that Angry Womble is being angry.
Rise wants to call.
I'm not being angry.
Oh, Rice has a question.
Okay.
He has a question.
Is it going to be in the call or in text?
He has a question, by the way.
He has a question.
Not just a question.
Is that a Danish question?
Oh, yeah, F's sake.
Yeah,
Dutch.
you have to bring him into the call.
Yeah, we should have Reese on the line any minute now.
Yeah. I'm not angry. I haven't got anywhere near angry. Bruce Womble.
She's just her usual sweet self.
Yeah, I'm all bouncy and stuff. I was planning and plotting girliness today.
Hello, Reese.
We've got a Dutch phobe in the chat, by the way.
Dutch phobe.
My name is Rise, not Reese.
I beg your pardon. We've been calling you Reese for ages.
Just don't ask what the geologic column's made of.
I wanted to ask something about Islam, but something popped up in your chat that I found very interesting. And forgive my manners. Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure.
What I would think is really interesting, and I'm not sure if all of you know it, the Faraday presentations. Do you remember those? Where they have all these cool little experiments to show children how science goes on. And,
no, I don't.
It's not something I've come across.
If you look on YouTube for instance, Richard Dawkins and Faraday or presentation, you should be able to find it. It's from the early 80s.
Okay.
It's really cool, and you see a really young Dawkins with a full head of hair, by the way. But if you want to make a reply to Expelled, I highly recommend you don't reply to Expelled because I don't think the movie deserves it.
It's that double edge of do you give them credit by actually responding, and by being quiet you can brush it away, or is it worthy of being savagely torn apart limb from limb, scientifically speaking?
Well, if you're going to respond to it directly, they're just going to scream, "Oh, help, help, I'm being persecuted." But what would be cool if YouTubers, I think that movie is coming out this year, A Look on Earth, where they had 43,000 entries of people that posted videos on YouTube that they want to use for a documentary movie about how the Earth looks. Mm-hmm. But my suggestion would be to make, say, a feature movie from YouTubers that have, little fun scientific explanations and explain to kids why science is fun.
Science is fun because you can blow things up.
Mm.
Science is interesting, and if you don't agree, you can... No, I'm going to finish that. We'll try and keep it clean.
I think everyone has seen that one.
Thing is, I have a few friends that are on the front line of the chalk face, as it were, and some of the stories I hear from them about what it can be like within the classroom, it's a little bit kind of hair-raising in terms of trying to deal with 30 teenagers with raging hormones and try and make the subject interesting. So it's there's like many challenges in terms of how to address science and get it interesting to young people.
Yeah, and if you want to get kids really interested in science, you can give them like a little goldfish bowl and then drop potassium in it.
What, with the goldfish in it?
Yeah.
It's biology and chemistry in one experiment.
And physics. The heat.
And murder.
It's kill the little animals.
First you get to learn about science, biology, and physics, and then you get dinner.
There's not much fish in a little goldfish.
It's just goldfish.
Science
You just dip it in sauce and take a bite. It'll be perfectly fine.
But just say to those listening to us on SkepticTV, don't try that at home.
But
I'm
Potassium is
sorry,
really expensive.
Yeah.
Number one, a direct reply to Expelled would give it at least somewhat of credibility.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
They can always claim, "Oh, help, help, I'm being persecuted." But if you make a fun little movie about science and why it's cool, little experiments and, show little things, that might pique a kid's interest. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. I think the biggest problem right now with science and getting it to the kids is when I was growing up, I had Mr. Don Herbert on the television, otherwise known as Mr. Wizard. And then the next generation had Bill Nye in the United States. And you guys had Dawkins and other people in the UK.
Oh, no, we didn't have... Dawkins wasn't one to reach the kids. We had Johnny Ball, and it was Johnny Ball Reveals All. And that was far superior to this Bill Nye...
The post-Watershed version wasn't so great for children.
Nowadays, there's nobody on television, and stuff like Mr. Wizard and Beekman and Bill Nye, to get those DVDs, you have to pay out the ass to get them because they're considered educational materials.
What was it again?
For which?
Guy.
The what guy?
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Johnny Ball would take Bill Nye any day of...
I think Disney sells a single episode of Bill Nye's series for $150.
Oh, actually, I've just remembered there is, I think it's out on Sky, the hamster, Richard Hammond from Top Gear. I don't know if he still does it, but for a while he was doing a series called Brainiac, which Brainiac Science Abuse.
Which is the least scientific science program.
Yeah, I understand that they might have faked their alkali earth metal.
They did admit to that. They did fake the alkali earth metal. Oh, the alkali metal.
But at the same time, it's, do you go with a tiny little bit of fibbing so you can get the kids interested?
I don't know, Moonfire, but did you have a channel at the time in England called Super Channel?
Probably not.
We had 5 channels back then.
Yeah.
If you were lucky.
Yeah. Five channels has only been since in the last 10, 15 years. Before then, for a long time, you generally just had 4 channels unless you had cable or...
they had a really cool show called The Wild Wild Show. And by the way, if we're going to talk about Brainiac, please don't talk about history abuse because I puked when I saw that series. Ugh.
That is awful. But anyway, The Wild Wild Show.
We had the really wild show when I was a kid.
Yeah, with Michaela Strachan looking at cheetahs every week. She got the nice fluffy animals, and the blokes got to look at crabs and squid and things.
Yeah, I remember a bit as a kid being really into Wildlife on 1 and Wildlife on 2, and just David Attenborough documentaries and David Bellamy.
David Bellamy. No, I'm not going to do
How do we go exploring through the undergrowth?
You can see this family evolution, though.
Yeah, I think that's definitely missing from the television and everything today. We don't have somebody reaching the kids that they can relate to.
We do have, every Christmas in the United Kingdom, there are the Royal Institution Christmas lectures, which are aimed for children. And indeed, Richard Dawkins did one of those in the past. That may be what you're thinking of, because they are done in the Royal Institution building, which is formerly done by Humphrey Davy. No, Humphrey Davy and Michael Faraday.
Yeah, and it is aimed at kids.
But
those are the ones I mean.
Okay, yeah. As I said, if you want to look those up, they're the Royal Institution Christmas Lectures. If you put in RI Christmas Lectures and Dawkins into YouTube, you'll find them all. That's where he first introduced the idea of climbing Mount Improbable, as he put it, which the creationists find hilariously funny for some reason.
I was still a little bit depressed with Mount Improbable because Dawkins plainly tells a kid, yes, it's possible that we are stuck on a peak.
We may be. Well, either that or we're heading towards one.
Peak. Can we push certain people off down to the bottom?
Some of them are tumbling back down into the valleys as quickly as they can go. But
Oh, Lewis is on. Guys, I have to do something with my truck. The store closes at 5, so I said when Lewis comes on, I will depart.
You have the fail-in free to take over
Hello,
for you.
bitches.
Yeah,
so we'll say goodbye to CS Bear.
I will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, Bear.
Oh, bye, CS. Hi, everyone. Hi, Lewis.
And yes, welcome to the show, Ellie Fired 1991. Also called Le Fail-In Free.
Shut the fuck up, James.
No swearing when I'm moderating.
Le Fail-In, what was that really popular video that Bear uploaded that you loved?
Oh no!
Oh no, no, no.
God damn it!
That's
You're the evil one.
you don't understand. I've studied science and everything for 2 years.
Ew.
What have I missed so far?
I hear a striking resemblance.
For the benefit of Pink Unicorn, I'm hosting. I'm Sound of Silence, but I'm not. I mean, since Ali Fayed joined the call, I'm not doing a very good job of maintaining order.
Sorry.
But,
I just missed it.
Hold on, give me a second.
okay, Lewis is having audio problems right now. I should say, is there anybody, I mean, in the chat, if you'd like to suggest, we've got plenty of other creationists we'd like to get through. Is there anyone in particular?
Can you hear me better?
We've got echo from your mic.
God damn it, hold on.
Okay,
that sounds fine.
Now.
That sounds fine, Ellie. You sound like you called you Ellie now.
Well, not a creationist, but if there's anyone here in the medical field, I don't know if you've handled this before. Binary Judy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. I'm vaguely aware of her. I've never sat and watched her videos. I'm a very, very lapsed first aider. Does that count for being medical? I think it's the closest we have to medical here.
I think we would like to. We're thinking of doing a show on homeopathy at some point, and it would be very nice at that time to talk about Binary Judy a bit more, mainly for her bottled intentions.
Can I bring something up real quick?
Yeah.
Because I know this episode is. I have a question about this since I'm here late. I just got off work. Did we mention yet the discussion that Yosh, myself, and Sound of Silence and DPR Jones had last night concerning sociopaths?
I wasn't aware of any conversation like that.
I've forgotten it.
Well, yesterday me, Yosh, Sound of Silence, and DPR Jones were talking about how, DPR Jones believes that Venom Fang X is a sociopath, and we had looked up. He showed us a website which demonstrates some of the symptoms of being a sociopath, and when we saw it, it fits Venom Fang X and Nephilim Free as well, almost to a T. And if you would like, I'll link you guys so we can link it onto the blog TV also. Give me a second.
Lafayette, with all respect, I really don't like these discussions. I don't like commenting on other people's mental health.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is tantamount to an ad hominem attack. So I think
what we should always remember with these things is all we can ever do really is speculate. We could say that there's the possibility that there is something going on, but what we see is problem X might actually be problems Y and Z, masquerading as problem X. I do think it's something I generally will approach with caution. I mean, I could probably look at some people and say, yes, actually, that person there is something clearly wrong. They need to go see help. But I can't really sit down and say that it is X, Y, or Z because I am not qualified to do that. And certainly with mental disorders, you really do need things to be done properly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we're going to go through the list of creationists, has anyone seen anything by Mystical Forest? Is he still putting out videos?
I've never even heard of him.
I have. I can't remember who he is for the moment, but
he's someone that has less IQ than a rock, but at least seems to be able to actually have a conversation, unlike Nephilim Free.
Imagine like the ultimate Tea Party supporter, and you basically got him.
Well,
oh God.
Is he kind of like Guns, God, Glory, whatever the fuck his name is?
No, he's not as bad. At least Mystical Forest will try to engage you.
I mean, I'm looking at the titles of his videos. Why are liberals so stupid? Stay off crack. Thunderfoot, your video made me sad. You atheists have nothing. I think we've got the measure of the man already. But His
by
page
the way,
is also illegible.
Oh yeah, I mean he claims to be illiterate and dyslexic. Being dyslexic does not make you illiterate. I am dyslexic. I am far from illiterate.
Because he's got transparent boxes with purple text on a blue background, and so you can't read any of it.
By the way, I guess your show is shit out of luck tonight. By the way, oops. But apparently Thunderfoot was uploading his new video, so probably everyone is watching that. Yeah, he tweeted it.
Who was uploading a video?
Yeah.
Who
was?
Thunderfoot.
Oh, Thunderfoot.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, we've got slightly more viewers than last week, so I'd say we're doing quite well.
Yeah, we're up by 50%.
Into double figures this time.
No, we were double figures last time.
I know, I'm just being horrible. There is, I think, well, I don't know whether we should go on to...
I think we should maybe do some shout-outs for some of the people that are listening.
I think that's true, actually.
Yeah. Falchion49, that's fuck you with your evidence. Who else knows any of the
Keep it clean, Womble.
Keep it clean.
Say keep it clean, Blue.
Blue's only responding in musical strums.
Keep it clean.
Is anyone else going to respond, or is it just me trying to be nice and involve the listeners in being callous and heartwards?
I would say he's already been on the show tonight, but Chilled Tea has an excellent YouTube channel. Still very small. I think he's only got about 40 subscribers, so I would definitely recommend subscribing to him.
Yeah, sub to him. Really do. Sub to Chilled Tea. I have.
Sub to who?
Chilled Tea.
If you're not subbed to him already, I would say sub to Falchion. He does some very, very good videos against creationists.
I was wondering about
DPR Jones is whinging about something. I'm not sure what, though. He's just having one of his little lawyer tantrums, I think.
I was wondering about one thing, actually, Angry Womble. You're a geologist, right?
Yeah.
Or you're almost an official geologist?
I have a degree in... I have an A-level and a degree in geology.
No, she just thinks she's a geologist.
And I'm working on a master's in it.
She calls herself a geologist.
Yeah, and she's typing from her padded wall cell. I know.
Yeah. Dribbling into the mat.
How frustrating was it for you that both you and Rymaiden tried to explain to Neffy where he was wrong, and that you just can't get through to them?
It's insanely frustrating. It's like speaking to a child that is I would say it's like in speaking to a child to explain why what they did was wrong or dangerous, and they just can't comprehend. But that's not fair, because the child, as they develop the level of maturity and the cognitive development to get this idea through their head, they will eventually understand. And if they're the kind of the age where, not that you should, but you can guilt trip them into realizing what they did was wrong, and that they'll promise to try not to do it again.
You can't call him Neffy anymore. He gets insulted by it.
Yes.
Neffy.
This is the latest news, is Neff doesn't like being called Neffy.
DPR Jones in the conversation yesterday told us that he was talking to Nephilim Free, and he said, DPR Jones says, "Hi Neffy, I hope you are well. I'm a little busy at the moment. I'll try and contact you later." Nephilim Free responds about 3 hours later, DPR, I realize you like talking down to creationists, but the Neffy thing is pretty childish. It does not offend me, but I find it below me to respond to anyone resorting to such things when trying to have adult conversations.
Oh, it's...
Please refer to me as Neff or Nephilim Free if you want me to respond to you. Okay, DPR Jonesy? Thank you.
Honey, bring me my 9. I want this pain to go away.
But, yeah, I mean, it's...
Call him Sugar Britches all the time.
But yeah, to go back to the question that Reese raised, it's insanely frustrating. I'd probably feel it's more productive to bang my head against a brick wall until I make myself stupid than trying to talk to Neffy. Micah, his little tag along, I think we are potentially more able to reach, but that's not necessarily saying much. But he's at least seems to be able to hold a reasonable actual two-way discussion, whereas Neff doesn't seem to be able to.
Let's call Neff let's call Micah what he really is. He's Nephilim Free's prison bitch. Let's be
well, possibly, but I do try and maintain a level of politeness because I am English and we are the superior race when it comes to manners.
I'm a complete asshole and I don't really care.
Politeness first. Then when they're complete arseholes, just roll out the insults and whatever.
Well, that's why England is no longer an empire. You guys should have probably kept being assholes. Look at us Americans.
No. See, we do it with manners and we do it with style.
Yes.
So it feels like you're being abused with the velvet gloves.
Yes.
And as Solston's just said, we ran out of bars.
Do you have to cough so loudly, Lewis?
I'm sorry. I was trying to mute. I was having a coughing fit.
It's almost time to say goodbye to Rise, if I'm saying it correctly now.
Yes.
Nice.
And thank you very much for having me. And
thank you for calling in. I would also say Rise's channel is also very good, so I would recommend subbing to that.
My channel's horrible.
There's some nephew ponage on there. That's good enough for me.
Well, if you don't like to have your subs, I'll take them from you. Gladly.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me, and I will politely bow out of the call. Thank you very much again, and have fun tonight.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Goodbye.
Cheers, mate.
I would also, I don't know whether or not you guys have anything you want to talk about or whether there's anything that people in chat would like to talk about, but just on the subject of people who call themselves geologists, I would really like to spend even just 5 minutes talking about Ian Juby, aka Crocodile Fundy.
I vaguely...
There you are, look at the picture on TV.
I think I've seen some bits of him.
Holy shit!
He's a Golden Crocodile nominee.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen much of his stuff. If we're on about actual supposed geologists, there's the chappie that we went to spend a lovely evening watching a few weeks back, who... yes, I think he talks a load of nonsense out of his backside.
Well, what I like is that he, as I think the way Potholer54 described it, is he is not a geologist, but he has an outfit that makes him look like someone pretending to be a geologist.
Yeah. The guy that I'm referring to he's a chap called I'm forgetting how to speak here. He's called Paul Gardner, and he has a degree in environmental science, which apparently means he's now able to speak about geology and biology because he studied geology and biology, mostly geology, for his degree. Now, let's put this into context, ladies and gentlemen. My degree is in geology. I did a fair amount of geochemistry and a tiny little smattering of geophysics. So I've probably got a fair amount of chemistry and physics in my degree. That doesn't mean I can stand up and talk about either of those two topics. He's an environmental scientist. He could probably talk really well about that subject, but he's got no grounds to stand on, in my opinion, to speak about geology. Bearing in mind he worked as a secretary in a scientific company that dealt with, it was a pharmaceutical company, and then he went and worked as a creation ministry person.
Well, does believing that you are knowledgeable in the subject count for anything? I mean, that's what you do, right?
I'm not angry yet, Hicks. Close there. But it's the danger with this chap is because he's got his degree and the way he phrases, but the fact that he says he worked for a scientific company for X number of years and he now does creation research. Having been to this talk, it sounds there, and he can probably reiterate if anyone actually needed it from the tone of my voice, that he came across in a very convincing manner to those that don't know that he's enough science to have their alarm bells ringing. He's coming over as someone that's trustworthy.
Yeah, he does put on the air of somebody who's more academic than, say, Kent Hovind, who appeals to common sense. He is somebody who goes in and sort of slightly blinds with statistics and graphs and field observations and things.
A clearly unimodal graph and he tried to say it was bimodal. That means we've got 1 bump for unimodal, 2 bumps for bimodal.
Unfortunately, he'd taken it off the screen quite a long time ago, and I think most people in the audience couldn't remember what it looked like and didn't know what bimodal meant.
I had a question about Kent Hovind, a quick one.
Yes.
Is it true that he admitted that he evaded taxes or so? He admitted that, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, when he was convicted, he said this. Well, I don't know. What is it? The point you're trying to make before I try and finish it for you?
Because I was saying speaking of Creationists, you guys know that I have a very personal problem with I2I35, and in one of his videos he had said that Kent Hovind was framed, that all the evidence was planted, and that somebody had jealousy and shit like that. So I was wondering, and I had heard that, didn't Kent Hovind admit to evading taxes?
Is it DPR Jones? DPR Jones has just informed us that he did admit to not paying them.
Yeah, because I've seen it on some of his videos or something where he says about the government has no right to take taxes from you, so that was why he decided not to pay.
Okay.
What
so it is completely not valid. So I can fuck himself. Also, I like your picture. All right.
What was I going to say? I was going to say what I really like about the Kent Hovind tax evasion case was that, first of all, in court he said if the I forget what's the Inland Revenue in America, the IRS.
Yeah.
He said if the IRS just want the money, then I can get. He said something to the effect of I can get enough together out of my parish and my supporters in order to pay it all, so I can go out and carry on preaching. So first of all, he was just going to get his followers to bail him out rather than coughing up the money out of his own pocket. But also,
how much money does he make from his stupid, shitty museum and ministry?
I have no idea.
Too much.
Yeah.
Or does Kent Hovind also have a museum?
Ken Ham has his own museum as well.
Kent Hovind has Dinosaur Adventureland.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's
like
in
Jurassic
his back
Park?
garden or something. Yeah, it's like a creationist version of Jurassic Park, but unfortunately without any dinosaurs that can get loose and eat everyone.
And I think his son Eric now runs it.
Yeah. And
but
yeah,
also,
it was just this, kind of little things where they had a science thing with a religious message because they looked after the spiritual side as well. And please pass me the vomit bag.
What I would also say is that there were bugged phone calls just after Hovind was put in prison, where he was talking to his son and asking him to hide some property deeds and a vehicle title, so that the repossession bailiffs couldn't come and repossess them. So he was trying to avoid paying at all costs, literally.
What a dick!
But we've already done quite a lot on Kent Hovind this show.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know you weren't here for that bit. But...
Yeah.
Okay, can I throw in a?
No, touch Liam. You're very quiet.
Can I throw in a random name, just to go back to the original?
Well, I'd rather it was something related. Don't just say like Susie Quattro and expect us to talk about her for the rest of the show. But
no.
Throw in a name and we'll tell them limb from limb.
Very comfort.
P.P. Simmons.
Oh no.
Who?
P.P. Simmons is another YouTuber.
Yeah.
If you've seen the Living Dinosaur, he's done a lot of rebuttals to P.P. Simmons videos.
I've subbed to Living Dinosaur. I haven't checked the channel out yet.
And he also won the Cock Award.
He won the what?
Oh.
He won the Cock Award from Potholer 54 for what's the title of it? For
I don't remember.
I won the Cock Award.
Gross ignorance or something?
No, it's Defiance of Ignorance.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so a different kind of cock. I won another kind of cock award.
Okay. Yeah. It was renamed the cock after Andy Cock.
Yeah.
It was originally the Stone Commander Award.
Yes, but then Stone Commander admitted to his mistake, and so the award was renamed.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so P.P. Simmons, I don't believe he voices his own videos. I think he just writes the scripts, and then he gets somebody who's sort of mildly famous in creationist circles to do the audio. I may be wrong.
Yeah, that
Yes,
guy's called Carl, I believe.
Ellie Fired won the Cock Award once.
Yeah.
I might kick you for that.
Is that because you smell like one?
Hey, I don't know
Is it
what
your-
kind of cocks you've been smelling, Womble, but my cock smells like fresh flowers.
Was it your 100 cocks served award
A what?
No.
service thing?
See, I'm
Anyway,
thinking about
anyway, let's not
clean.
get off topic and let's keep it clean, as the on the box would tell us. But now, what were we talking about? Yes, so P.P. Simmons, his main argument is that creationists and evolutionists are looking at the same evidence, and it's simply the interpretation and the philosophy that differs. I'm guessing that's what Dutch Liam's heading towards.
No, I was actually referring to a video he made
a video.
Yeah, I think 2 months ago about that we evolutionists don't like to hear the words chance and random when it comes to evolution. And I commented on his video. I think I was quite nice to him. And he replied back to me, please do not begin the circle talk of evolution debate. If you sink too far down that stupid hole, you will simply be blocked. It gets really, really boring after a while. Also, the next name-calling rant you go on will earn you a block, permanent from all our posts. Your call. And I didn't... I just accused him of blatantly lying. I don't think that's actually a name-calling thingy. But
perhaps if you use the word liar, but anyway.
I don't think I used the word liar. No. Because I saved it all, but the strangest thing is he says his channel is not a science channel, and that it's just a Christian channel, and he doesn't know enough about science to actually comment on it. But most of his videos are about science, and I think that's a bit contradictory.
Indeed.
On his account.
And a creationist contradicting himself? What?
Wow. Who does
No. That's not possible. That's not possible.
That's not possible. I'll never join you.
I don't know, but if anyone's got anything to say about this, as I say, P.P. Simmons, one of his most common arguments is that evolutionists and creationists are looking at the same evidence. It's simply their interpretation that differs. Do people here think that's honestly true, or do we think that maybe the creationists ignore certain pieces of evidence that don't sit well with them?
Oh no, they ignore it outright.
I'm pretty sure that's not even a question anymore, SoundOfScilence.
All right, I'm just trying to stimulate debate.
I know. The thing is,
that's not the only thing getting
I possibly could make a good analogy on this. It's like with geology, I can be, well, depends on how up I am on all my relative bits of field geology. You essentially get some geologists, you power drop them into some random field locations. They then have to look at the rocks to work out what has been going on, and realistically you want to look at the rocks over a large area to really work out what's been going on in an area. But geology is all about looking at the rocks and pulling in the different streams and lines of evidence you can. I mean, over the summer I did some stuff to revise my hard rock geology, so my tectonics and stuff, and it was a case of going somewhere and looking at the evidence from the different types of minerals, the field relations of those minerals, any microstructures, or not microstructures, also sort of structures visible under hand lens and in the rock, and being able to piece together the history of what that is. Now, that's different bits of evidence, and you can get 2 or 3 slightly different ideas about what's going on, but it's still pointing to an old Earth. If you see what I mean.
I hate to burst your bubble on that one, but have you not realised that looking at pictures is as good as going out into the field and doing everything?
Really?
Yes, if not better. Yeah.
Spend that much money on field work? Shit.
Not when you can just look at things on Google Earth and take very pixelated screen dumps of it and say, look, there was a flood.
Oh, exactly.
So no, I think it's probably true. Although you could, of course, argue that evolutionists do the same in terms of ignoring evidence. The question is, how do we know that we're not?
Because I was at a recent Skeptics in the Pub, and it was a the talk was done by a philosopher, and I don't know whether or not you caught part of this bit, Sound, but he said that the thing that's good about science is that it's because it's self-correcting. Even if it's not straight away, science will pick out where there's the bad science and rip it to pieces. So science will point out where there's been the failure and correct it.
But what if it's all part of the evil conspiracy that the creationists like to go on about there?
Yes, meatbag, exactly like cold fusion. It was the thing with the cold fusion malarkey was it was kind of obvious that they were a bit clutching at straws because they went straight to the popular press as opposed to going through the peer review process. And when other scientists finally got hold of the supposed method, they tried, and they couldn't reproduce this supposed cold fusion. So they eventually had to out the fact that the original scientists were lying. They got outed by. Yeah, no, they got outed by the rest of the scientific community as having lied their asses off to the world about this supposed revelation that they'd made, this discovery.
Oh, and you mean the scientists who believe in evolution eventually will?
We accept. We don't believe.
No, you do believe because it's not true.
Although the ghost of cold fusion has actually been resurrected fairly recently. I don't want to say too much here for fear of accidentally spreading misinformation, but there was an article, although it was on Colin, help me out here. Is it the What's Up With That channel? Oh, What's Up With That website?
I don't know.
But I think he's on the case already. He's looking for it. But supposedly, cold fusion is set to go commercial very soon. So,
well, the thing is, I think if right now we can't work on it, it's certainly something that, because we are going to always want to get access to cheap, easily producible energy that isn't, hopefully, as long as the right-wing religious nutters in the States don't get the way, that isn't going to fuck up the planet in an environmental disastery way. So cold fusion, whilst it might be really, really unfeasible at the moment, is always going to be an avenue of research that will be revisited periodically as we know more.
So these people are claiming that that they've actually made it a viable proposition, which is very odd for a technology which, as we say, hasn't yet passed the scientific.
So I don't know, because I wasn't aware that it was sort of coming back into favour.
Well, as I say, this is from a notoriously untrustworthy website, so I'm reserving information about it. We may have to look at it another time, but we're getting sidetracked slightly. But
yeah.
Is there anything that anybody would just like to talk about? We've got about 10 minutes left of the show. Is there anything that anybody really wants to bring up, apart from a mouthful of vomit at one of Nephilim Free's videos? I'm being a bit mean.
Fucking helium, how does it work?
Fucking miracles, that's how.
What will the Creationists do next?
What will the Creationists do next? Well, I don't know.
Probably the same thing that they've already done, though. They're trotting out the same arguments for years.
They always move on to something new. First it was Creationism, then it was intelligent design. Then they do something else, like start.
They're going to have intelligent falling soon, because they'll eventually realise that gravity's a load of arse. We've got less evidence than evolution, and they will be on the intelligent falling.
Well, this is my next. This is my next video that I'm going to put on YouTube. Is a member from the Truth Group who says, if you don't believe in God, then how can you rely on gravity to work every time?
You know what they'll do next? The same thing they always do. Try to take over the world. It's Micah and the Neff. It's Micah and the Neff.
How long have you been working on that, Lewis?
I just thought of it on the spot.
He's been brewing it up for the last half hour.
He has. That's all he's been thinking about at work today.
One is insane, the other might be gay. I'll leave for you guys to decide which one's gay. I think Micah might.
The opinions of Elified 1991 do not necessarily reflect those of SkepticTV as an organisation.
But they entertain us.
But it was funny at the time, yeah.
You think Brain is gay? Well, I don't know, but which one is? I don't think either one of them is the Brain. That's why it's just Micah and the Left.
No, you might have been on about Pinky in the Brain.
He just called him Left. Anyway,
Yes,
so
and once again, the fail and free.
he called it himself that time, so he's only got himself to blame.
Oh, Cosmic Chimp has just messaged me on Blog TV with a geology question. Have we got time for him to jump in the call?
I think
polystrate trees. Ooh.
I think very quickly we can get him in.
Yeah. Cosmic Chimp, quickly Skype us. Quickly, go.
Quickly.
I guess I know the upright fossils, Cosmic Chimp. Join us in the call and ask your question.
Can I quickly plug another channel that was some people in the chat were talking about
Cosmic Chimp doesn't have
the
a
living
mic.
dinosaur. Oh.
Yes,
so,
the living dinosaur is a very good channel.
Yeah.
I'm plugging me.
Am I muted? No, I haven't hit my mute button. Cosmic Chip doesn't have a mic. Polystrate trees, how can they form? Well, I am not quite as up to speed on the geology surrounding those. But for my interpretation, you could have, if you've got sediment and you have the tree growing within the sediment, it could grow that way. Or you have a dead tree. Let's say, take the example of all the dead trees that are still floating around. Is it Spirit Lake, where St. Helens went kablooey in the 1980?
Yes, I think so.
Isn't there still a shedload of dead trees floating around there? But they will sink and fall down, and they will just be buried vertically.
Oh no, I
think
think
that's the best I can do at the moment.
No, I think that explanation is, for want of a better word, bollocks. Because this is what you're actually parroting inadvertently is the creationist argument. They will often claim that these were trees floating around in the floodwater, which soaked up water, became heavy, and then sank end on and punched their way down through several layers of sediment. First of all, the reason why we are pretty confident that didn't happen is because we don't see any perturbation in the sediment. You would see where the sedimentary layers have been squashed and moved out of the way.
No, I'm talking about the fact that they'll fall down and then the sediment layers are built up around them.
But they're not gonna sink standing upright. That's the problem.
I know.
But I would say that another thing against that idea is that we quite often find these trees buried in their life position, or in other words, we find the stump of the tree with the roots firmly grounded.
Which is why the first example that the first possibility is the fact that it's how it grew.
Yeah.
It formed in a crack in some soft soil and was able to grow upwards. And it, as we've got trees in some parts of the world like 4,000 or 5,000 years old. If you've got a tree in an environment with lots of deposition and it lives that long, you will have lots of different layers around it, depending on how long it takes a rock layer to form.
I mean, if you look at modern environments like the Everglades today, the roots of the mangroves in the Everglades are already submerged in quite a few feet of mud.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't matter if those roots rot away at any point, because they will still leave a cavity in their original shape, which then may be filled in with a different type of sediment or whatever. So you can have lots and lots of layers of different sediment building up. That doesn't mean that those layers took millions of years to form. Because you can't tell simply from the thickness of a layer or from its makeup how long it took to form.
Of course, it didn't take millions of years. It all happened once during the flood.
Also, the only fossil trees that I've ever seen in the field were ones which have been buried by volcanic ash, and it really doesn't take anything long. It can take maybe a day for a tree to be buried. In a
if the volcano's
eruption.
Kicking out enough ash and tephra and crap.
I mean, the entire city of Pompeii was buried in a day or two following the eruption of Mount Vesuvius.
Well, not just Pompeii. There was Herculaneum on the other side that got buried in mud flows.
Yes, it did. I've seen that as well. So, and another thing is, again, landslides are another way of burying a tree very, very quickly. A question I was asked actually by Micah is, why do polystrate trees not have branches, which is actually slightly stupid, but quite an interesting question.
Is that on a par with what's the geological column?
Well, it's not entirely stupid. I would say, I don't know as all polystrate trees don't, but most of the polystrate trees that we find date to the Carboniferous. And in the Carboniferous, most trees were essentially tree ferns, which don't have branches as such. They did have fronds, which would have dropped off, but most of the trunk would have been completely smooth. So all in all, the fact that we don't find a lot of modern trees in the fossil record is another proof of an old earthly world, because I wonder what Noah would have built the ark out of if they didn't have the big hardwood trees like we use for building today. Right, well, it's nearly time to wrap up the show. Does anybody have any burning issues before we go? I'm not sure why we got onto polystrap trees, but...
It was Cosmic Chimp.
Talking about burning issues,
Yeah,
I
but...
had sex with an unclean girl, and now my penis is burning.
We don't need to know that, Nephilim.
No,
there was, I believe there's a question from, is it Joseph K, wanting comment from us on the USA not signing the UN Treaty on the Rights of Children. I would suggest, I'm not trying to jump on the host's job, Nephilim and Yosh might be a good ones to... Our resident Americans should deal with that one.
I'll take this one. I'll answer your question very simply. Blame the Republicans.
Yep.
Blame the party of no. Blame the ones that will not allow anything to happen until Barack Obama is no longer president. So they are willing to sacrifice the good of the country for the next 2 years until one of them gets put in office. That's the end of my rant.
I have no idea why that came up in a show about creationist dishonesty, but the polystrap trees I can understand because, again, it's something which has been debunked many times and yet still keeps doing the rounds. But so yes, we managed to get some politics in there in the end. But thank you for ranting, Lewis.
Matt,
Well, they filibustered everything, even stuff that they wanted to do in the first place.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm completely not up to speed on American politics.
Blue is to serenade us with his
Blue
guitar.
is offering his political thoughts through the medium of song. Yes, the fascists were bastards, weren't they? No, we're not going to get into a rowing chorus.
Okay.
It may happen. Stop it. It may happen.
Meh.
Shut up, or none of you are going to be on the next show. I can play that on guitar as well, so I haven't got my guitar.
I think we're into the silly few minutes.
We are into the silly few minutes. So before I go, first of all, just some quickly to replug the shows that we've already plugged in this show, which were, if I remember correctly, The Living Dinosaur, Rise. There was Chilled Tea, which is my personal favourite. Who else were we plugging?
Me.
All of us. I'll get round to our names at the end of the show. But
Falchion 49 is worth a shout out.
Falchion 49, that was the other one. Just time before we go to thank CollinMaessen, who's been doing our technical wizardry as ever.
Whispering in our ears.
Yes, we hope someday that he'll actually get to speak on this show, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. I would like to thank our panelists, HODthunderwolf.
Yay.
Angry Womble.
Wow.
BluJugganaut. Ellie-Fied 1991.
Nephilim
free. Yoshimo 1.
The game.
Oh, damn you, Yosh. Right, you're not going to be on the next show.
Also called it.
Dutch Liam 84.
Holland.
And csbair, who unfortunately is no longer here. I'm SoundOfScilence. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. Not quite sure yet what the topic of that show is going to be. As I said at the end of the last show, we're always on the lookout for new people to appear on the show. So if you would like to appear on the show, or if you would like to suggest a topic that we can talk, you don't have to talk funny.
It's because he's posh, isn't he?
It's because I'm posh.
Don't speak proper like what I does.
I'm from the Britlands. I've completely lost it. But yes, we'll be back in 2 weeks. If you'd like to suggest a topic for the show, or if you would like to appear on us, then you can email us either at info@skeptictv.net, or you can email me personally, sound@skeptictv.net.
Or me at womble@skeptictv.net.
Or Womble, indeed.
And if you are a lady friend, if you are a lady and you need some male company, you can email me at Ellie.
Blah 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 blah.
And this is how awesome we are. My cats come to say goodbye to all the listeners. Ow. 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 She really has. I'm getting hassled here.
Yes, well, apart from that. So, thank you all for listening. We hope to see you back in 2 weeks' time. It'll almost certainly be on the Saturday again, won't it, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Forget to call.
Other than that, we hope to see you around, and thank you, and goodbye.
Bye, audience.
Bye.
Bye-bye.